Hello, you, the one listening quietly, somewhere in the middle of this loud, complicated world. If you're an Aries, or if your heart holds someone who lives and burns like one, pause for just a moment. Take a deep breath and let your heart open like the doors of an ancient temple, standing still beneath a silent desert sky. Because right now, you're about to step into a realm of energy you may have felt all your life but never knew how to name. Have you ever sensed a force, invisible but steady, guiding you forward, especially when you were on the edge of giving up? A voice that doesn't speak in words, just a feeling, strong enough to keep you from turning around, soft enough to whisper, "Keep going, I'm right here." The ancients called it a guardian angel. Astrologers call it divine guidance. And today I invite you to call it by name: Ariel, the Archangel of Aries, the Lion of God, the one who's walked with your soul since long before your very first breath. You see, Aries is not just any sign. You are the first spark, the drum that starts the march. A soul called to go first, even when the road ahead is dark, even when no one else dares to lead. And because of that, you carry a quiet loneliness in your chest, one that few truly understand. A longing to feel steady, to feel held, to hear someone say, "You're not alone." That's why Ariel is always there, not as a blinding light, not as the miracle you might be waiting for, but as a gentle warmth in your chest, just strong enough to keep you from getting lost. A quiet peace that finds you, even in life's loudest storms. Ariel is strength, wrapped in compassion, like a silent breeze pushing your ship forward, and a calming hand on your chest when your heart races too fast from fear or anger or unmet longing. You are fire. Ariel is the breath that keeps that fire from becoming a wildfire, one that burns through even your own foundations. Maybe you felt it before, a moment when you didn't explode like usual, a time when you chose silence and still felt strong. A bold decision, not made in panic but born from a deep, quiet knowing. That was Ariel speaking, not with words but with intuition, with presence, with trust. And if you're listening to this right now, during a season of storms, allow yourself to believe that a force of light is standing just behind you, not to command, not to control, but to walk with you as the most silent, most loyal companion your soul has ever known. We'll go deeper together into who this sacred guide really is. But first, close your eyes just for a moment. Take a breath, and remember the last time you almost fell apart but didn't. Maybe, just maybe, that was Ariel placing an invisible hand on your shoulder. And from that sacred place within, our journey doesn't stop at protection. Because Ariel isn't just a guardian, he's a guide, a quiet teacher sent to deliver Aries the greatest lesson of all, that real strength is not in the reaction, but in the calm that comes when you no longer need to prove anything at all. And if you're ready now to step into the next layer where Ariel begins to whisper lessons made of light, then let's keep walking together. Right here, right now. If you've ever wondered how you keep getting back up, even after the kind of fall that should have kept you down. If your heart has ever felt strangely strong, even when all around you was doubt, rejection, and darkness, then maybe you've been walking alongside a sacred companion, someone your soul has always known, but never quite named. His name is Ariel. In ancient languages, Ariel means the Lion of God, a name that holds both power and compassion, and how fitting, because that's the very essence Aries carries in its soul, fierce and filled with light. Ariel isn't just a guardian angel, he's a spiritual force, one that holds your fire and steadies your heart. He doesn't chase the pain away, he softens your chest in the middle of it. He doesn't erase your anger, he lets it melt like morning mist touched by sunlight. In a world that's too loud, where Aries is often misunderstood as too much, too blunt, too intense, too raw, Ariel is the gentle whisper, reminding you you're not wrong for being real. You just need to learn how to keep your fire from burning you too. He shows up when you're surrounded by envy, by unfair criticism, by silent competition pressing in from all sides. And no, he doesn't strike down those who hurt you. He simply steps between you and the pain, like a soft shield made of light, quiet but unbreakable, helping you hold on to the belief that you're still enough. There are days when your strength isn't in your voice or the weight you can carry. It's in that strange sense of peace, the one that says, you don't have to fight the world today. Just be still, you're safe. That's Ariel. He doesn't walk your path for you, he walks beside you. And in those rare moments when you feel like you're glowing from the inside out, even though others still seem asleep, Ariel is the one reminding you that light isn't meant to burn anyone. It's meant to guide for you, and for those brave enough to follow. He also lays a quiet hand over your heart. On the days you're exhausted, not from the world, but from your own expectations, because Aries always wants to move faster, do more, love harder, forgetting sometimes that your body and soul need rest too. Ariel doesn't stop you from moving forward, he just reminds you that sometimes slowing down is the only way to go farther. And if one day you feel calm in the middle of your rage, or you wake up with a strange new surge of energy you can't explain, maybe, just maybe, that's Ariel. He doesn't need to part the clouds or burst into magical light. All he has to do is brush gently against your heart, and that's enough for you to remember. You've always been protected, not because you're fragile, but because you're worthy, and from that place of light, another door quietly opens. Ariel doesn't just protect, he whispers to your intuition, guiding you to recognize what's real, what matters, and what's just a passing flame. Because sometimes the greatest decisions don't begin with clarity, they begin in stillness, in a quiet pull from within, one that you are just now learning to hear. On Aries' long and restless journey, a path filled with dreams, pressure, and relentless striving, there are moments when your outer strength simply isn't enough to hold you upright. Not because you've become weaker, but because you're carrying too much. Holding the weight of the world in your chest, trying to stay strong for everyone else, pushing forward for the dream, enduring it all for the sake of duty, and sometimes staying silent just to protect your pride. That's when the soul begins to tire, but strangely enough, even in that moment, something still pulls you back, like an embrace from within, like a hand on your back, not pushing you forward but stopping you from falling. That is Ariel. He doesn't show up with dazzling light. He doesn't need miracles or prophecy. His protection arrives like sunlight breaking through morning fog, quiet, gentle, and exactly on time. When envy surrounds your light, when cruel words hide behind fake smiles, and that poison starts to creep into your mind, Ariel becomes a ring of light around your soul, a shield you can't see but you can feel. He doesn't strike back, he neutralizes so that what's toxic never touches your heart. You see, Aries feels injustice deeply. You live honestly, and that honesty makes you vulnerable to anything false. So when your heart wants to explode from anger or frustration, Ariel presses a calm hand to your mind, like cool water flowing through flames that have burned too high, not to put them out, just to cool them enough. So you're not scorched by the very fire you carry. For those born under Aries, emotions are both weapon and weakness. You feel deeply, you react quickly, and sometimes you get hurt by things others don't even notice. That's why Ariel stays close, especially in those moments when you're about to erupt. He doesn't stop you from feeling, he just helps you feel more clearly, to understand instead of just react. And when the noise outside finally quiets down, Ariel walks into the deepest part of you, the part that's exhausted but refuses to slow down. Aries rarely asks for help. You want to do it yourself, prove it yourself, survive it yourself. But that's exactly what pulls you out of balance. When your mind feels tangled, when you're spinning in 100 directions, so many things to fix, to carry, to complete, Ariel leans in and whispers, pause, just for a moment. Nothing will fall apart if you breathe and close your eyes for a little while. And when you do, something shifts. Your chest softens, your shoulders drop, and slowly, everything becomes clear again. Not because the problems disappeared, but because you return to yourself. Ariel doesn't take the hard things away. He helps you not fall apart in the middle of what matters most. He doesn't stop the storms, he just places a compass in your hand, so you'll know you're still heading the right way. And through that light, another layer opens. Not just protection, not just healing, but something deeper, a lesson in how to listen to the voice inside. Because sometimes, what's right isn't the decision that makes the most sense. It's the one that makes your heart feel calm. Somewhere along the foggy crossroads of life, there are moments, quiet, invisible, that no one else notices. Moments that belong only to you. And a voice that speaks no words yet echoes deep in your chest. A feeling like someone's holding your hand even when you're standing alone at the edge of fate. That moment is not a coincidence. That's when Ariel becomes your spiritual teacher, not walking ahead of you, not lecturing with logic, but teaching through the direct experience of your own heart. For Aries, a soul that craves action, intensity, and fire that ignites fast, it isn't easy. to tell the difference between true intuition and impulsive desire. You live raw, you give your all, you feel everything as it pulses through your blood, but because you're so real, you sometimes mistake urgency for truth. That is where Ariel steps in, not to put out the fire, but to help you see the light inside it more clearly. You know that moment, don't you? When you're ready to dive in full passion, no hesitation, but something inside slows you down like a whisper saying, "Wait, are you sure this is what your soul really wants?" Ariel never commands, he simply places stillness between the beats of your racing heart, giving you space to feel before you act. And if after that pause you feel peace, even if the decision is bold or risky, that's intuition. But if your chest feels tight, rushed, restless, that might just be your ego trying to prove something. Ariel doesn't teach with books. He teaches through sensation, through real moments that repeat over and over until you learn from the inside out. And each time, you become sharper, deeper, closer to the wisdom of a soul that's truly growing. But Ariel isn't just a guide. He's the quiet voice of persistence, especially when you're just about to give up. You see, Aries loves the beginning. You charge in like a warrior, fueled by fire, driven by passion, no second guessing. But when the results don't come fast enough, you lose faith, you pull back. You start to believe you've chosen the wrong path. That's when Ariel breathes something new into you, a spark of clarity, a flicker of hope, or just a gentle feeling that says, "Don't give up, not yet." So you rise again, not because the finish line appeared, but because you remembered why you started. Maybe no one else sees it, but inside your world, it's a real victory, a quiet one, but deeply felt. That's how Ariel walks with you, not as a glowing angel from the sky, but as a steady presence in every moment you choose to keep going, even when no one's cheering. And when night falls, when you sit alone with your doubts, Ariel comes again, not with answers, but with a reminder that self-trust still lives inside you. It's just been sleeping, because even the strongest souls need to hear once in a while that they are still worthy. And when you finally rise with a heart that's a little steadier, a little softer, Ariel will take your hand and guide you toward a new kind of light, one where you no longer have to run to prove you're strong. Instead, you'll begin to learn the quiet art of slowing down just enough to hear what's truly calling you from within. There are moments when it's not that you aren't strong enough, but simply that you've been holding it all together for far too long without a pause. It's not that you've lost your purpose, but that you've lived too long in the noise of expectations, responsibilities, and all those silent races you never agreed to run. For Aries, a soul constantly lit with motion, fire, and ideals, sometimes what you need most isn't another challenge, but a quiet space. A space where no one asks you what to do, no one expects an answer, no one needs you to be more. Ariel understands this more than anyone. He doesn't lead you into crowded rooms or into heated debates. He leads you back to nature, to a winding path beneath rustling trees, a sun-drenched patch of wild earth, a still shore at sunrise, a forest clearing where the only sound is wind moving gently through the leaves and birds calling each other by name. There, Ariel speaks without words, and it's there your soul begins to remember the original peace it once carried. Aries, you weren't born to run away from the world, but you weren't meant to fight it endlessly either. Sometimes, the deepest healing doesn't come from chasing answers. It comes from breathing with the earth until everything inside you realigns itself. Ariel gently encourages you to walk barefoot on the damp grass, to let your spirit touch the softness of the mother beneath your feet. He sends you a cool breeze, a streak of sunlight through the trees, a familiar scent you forgot you loved. And just like that, your inner energy begins to reset. No effort needed, just presence. When you feel your heart slow down in the middle of the forest, it's not weakness, it's grace. You are being held by something much larger than yourself. There, no one judges, no one compares, no one asks you to be the strongest person in the room. There, it's just you exactly as you are, and Ariel walking beside you in silence. The elders used to say, nature never hurries, yet everything gets done. And that is what Ariel wants you to remember. That peace doesn't live at the finish line. It lives in each breath. You allow to slow things down. Nature doesn't need a reason to bloom, and neither do you. You don't need to deserve rest or softness or dreams that don't come with explanations. Ariel wants you to know, even warriors need to take off their armor and return to the skin that's truly theirs. And if one day you suddenly feel the urge to leave the city, turn off your phone and sit for hours beneath an old tree you used to know, go. Because maybe, just maybe, that's Ariel calling you home, not to escape, but to be recharged by the very light that once set your spirit on fire. And when your cells are full of stillness, when your mind has grown quiet again, when your heart smiles for no reason at all, that's when Ariel gently shows you a new way to see your path. No more rushing, no more pushing, only clarity born from the light that's always lived inside of you. In your younger years, the world told you to fight, to win, to never stop pushing forward. And you, a fire-born Aries, you listened. You dove in, charged ahead like an arrow that never once looked back. Every scar, every failure, every broken dream, you wore them like medals of bravery. But then one day, whether standing at the top or sitting in the quiet of your lowest valley, whether in a tense meeting or a silent, rainy afternoon, you asked yourself, does every battle really need to be fought? Or maybe, sometimes, walking away is the bravest thing I can do. That question, it didn't come from weakness. It came from the wisdom that has been slowly ripening in your heart with time. And in that exact moment, Ariel leans in and whispers a lesson your soul has long needed to learn. Not every battle is worth your fire. You don't have to argue just to prove you're right. You don't have to run faster just to stay ahead. You don't have to react every time someone misunderstands you or throws a stone. You're not meant to do everything. You're meant to do what your heart truly wants and do it with a calm that comes from within. Because Ariel knows, beneath your warrior's armor, there's more than just fire. There's the heart of a guide. A true leader isn't the one who shouts the loudest in the room, but the one whose calm presence makes everyone listen. Ariel teaches gently through lived experience, through moments of overreaction, through the regrets of having decided too fast. And after enough of those, you begin to learn to pause before you answer, to breathe, before you walk into conflict, to smile instead of strike back. And in that stillness, you suddenly realize you've never been stronger. The next lesson arrives like mist, soft, without pressure, without judgment. Success doesn't come from speed. It comes from awareness and intention. Aries loves to begin, but Ariel wants you to learn how to finish. Not by racing to the end, but by walking the right path with your energy intact and a heart that's listened deeply enough to know which road belongs to you. Ariel didn't come to stop you from dreaming big. He came to help you turn that burning dream into something lasting, a steady light. One that feeds itself without burning everything down. And from within that light, something deeper begins to grow. No more rushing, no more fear of falling behind, no more need to win every race. Only a heart that knows its own worth, and a pair of eyes that can now look at the world the way you look at a river. Sometimes calm, sometimes wild, but always flowing toward the light. And from that place, Ariel brings you closer to the most sacred truth an Aries soul can reach in this lifetime. Not just how to live by fire, but how to tend it so that it doesn't just light your own way. It helps others find their path through the dark. In the quietest moments of your life, you'll begin to see something miraculous, that sometimes light doesn't come from charging ahead, but from stopping just long enough to look back at where you've been, at what you've lost, and what you've slowly found again within yourself. Ariel, your quiet, mysterious companion, has always stood beside you, not to show you the way, but to remind you the path has always been right there, beneath your feet. Sometimes we keep looking for signs from the outside, a word of encouragement, some kind of approval from the world. But Aries, the truth is you've carried everything you need since the day your journey began. You were never alone, not even in your darkest hour. Not when loneliness wrapped itself around you or when it felt like everything was slipping away. You were never without the sacred strength of Ariel, because Ariel, your spiritual guardian, holds you in arms you cannot see. Not by force, not by overpowering strength, but by quietly reminding you that truth and power were always living inside you. When you feel uncertain, when decisions feel too heavy to bear, Ariel gently asks you to pause, breathe, and listen, not to the noise, but to your heart. That isn't weakness, that is awareness. How can you hear your soul's calling if your heart never gets quiet enough to feel it? How can you guide others if you can't yet find the light within your own chest? Ariel isn't just your protector, he's a teacher. He teaches that every step, every decision doesn't have to be rushed. When you learn to truly listen, you begin to realize your path is not a race. It's a journey of guiding, of lifting others as you walk beside them. Because your path, Aries, was never meant for just you. You were born to light the way, not just for yourself, but for those walking beside you and those still finding their way. That's the sacred mission you've held in your heart since your very first breath. And every time you feel tired, every time the road gets lonely and it seems like no one is walking with you, just remember Ariel is still there, right beside you, ready to share with you the fire of the divine. On this journey, he may not always appear before your eyes, but you'll feel him in the warmth in your chest, in the soft breeze that stirs your spirit when you think you can't go on. And when you call, when you need, when your heart feels shaky or afraid, Ariel will hear. He will be there, no begging, no searching. Just trust the strength that lives within you, because it's you who brings light to this world. That reminder, it isn't just encouragement, it's truth. Even when you're tired, even when you're disappointed, you are still the one lighting the way for yourself. And for all those following your steps, all you have to do is believe and trust that every flame in your heart will always find the way forward. So, our story today has reached a quiet pause, but just like the fire within Aries, your journey is never truly over. Every step you take, every unexpected turn is another chapter waiting to unfold. Remember this, even when you feel like you're standing alone in the dark, the light inside you will always guide the way. And as Ariel gently reminded us, real strength doesn't come from never stopping the fight, but from knowing when to pause and truly listen to yourself. So when you step back out into the world, carry with you a quiet trust. Trust in your path, in your fire, and in the steady power behind each gentle step. Thank you for being here. If these words spoke to your heart, leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, so you won't miss the stories still waiting to be told. Wherever your fire leads you next, stay bright.